Welcome back to another episode of Motivate with Coach Camp. I, of course, am your host, Coach Camp, and we are down here in the spectacular, amazing studios of SRP with Mr. Derek Michaud. Oh, baby, do I have something for you guys this week. So on this week's episode, we have a very special guest he's come straight up from Tupelo, Mississippi. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but one of my favorite all-time artists of ever and forever, Elvis Presley, was born down there in Tupelo, Mississippi. Well, this gentleman here also plays music, and he is a blues guy. His name is John Clayton White. And look, I was brought to this guy's attention. All of a sudden, there's fans that start to expand and they spread, and then they see people and they're like, hey, y'all should get together. They sent me a message. I looked this young man up and I said, wow, what an inspiration. I think he has a story that he needs to share. So he and his mom have driven up, and in case y'all don't know, right now where we are and while we are actually recording, we still have that tropical depression flying right over the top of us. So they've driven all the way up here in the nasty rain, which tells me a lot. And I'm very humbled by the fact that they've done that. So without further ado, let's welcome this week's guest, Mr. John Clayton. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How about you?
Man, I'm doing great. Hey, whenever you first was told, there's this guy, he's got a lot of energy and he wants to have you out on his podcast, what was the first thought?
I guess I was super excited. You know?
Oh, good.
Never been on a podcast before, and it was just kind of a
Wow,
big deal to me.
Bad news. This is good. Now you've started out at the top of the mountain. There's nowhere to go now, so might as well just call it a wrap after this podcast. I'm just kidding. I like to think, though, that we do a great job here. My guests are phenomenal, and to be honest with you, this platform does not even exist if I don't have folks like yourself. Yeah, so you came all the way out here, man, and I want to get straight to it. I want to ask you some questions. It's just a natural flow. So let's start with the most important thing. How old are you?
I'm 13 years old. Yes, sir.
13 years old. So you don't even have a permit yet.
No, sir.
Yeah, that's all right. But you know what? You're out there doing big things. So where'd you grow up? Did you grow up in Tupelo?
Yes, sir. I grew up in Tupelo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's big shoes to fill. You know, Elvis is from there. Just growing up, seeing Elvis everywhere, and just having music in that town. It's been great.
So do you have brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I have 4 brothers and 1 sister.
4 brothers and 1 sister?
Yes, sir.
Where do you line up? Are you like the oldest, youngest, middle?
Yeah, I'm actually the youngest.
The youngest.
That big bunch.
Wow. How old is the oldest?
24.
24. Wow, that's a lot of influence then. So you being the youngest, being the baby, I don't know if you know this yet. You're 13, so you may not have gotten there. You know, you pretty much could juggle hand grenades. I don't know if that's true in your family, but I know that I have family members, and once they get to like child 3 and child 4, it's like, I don't know, what's he doing? He's playing with knives again? It's fine. They'll be fine. Yeah. So being 13 years old, do you have brothers and sisters that are in the music industry?
I actually don't. You know, I'm the youngest, and you're right, actually. You do have to be pretty tough to be the youngest.
You do have to be tough now. Your brothers and sisters could pick on you. I don't know your family dynamics, but that's just natural. That's the natural pecking order, as they say.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So growing up in Tupelo, Mississippi, you already mentioned it, Elvis Presley. Have you been to his house, where he was born?
Yes, sir, I have.
Small house. Oh, not much bigger than the studio, really. It's a very small house. Mm-hmm. Do you find that to be an inspiration?
Yeah, I do. You know, he came from barely anything and made it a lot.
You know? He made a lot, absolutely. So having something like that in your own backyard, I could see how that would inspire a person to feel like anything could be possible. Yes, so when you started out into the idea that you liked music, how did that happen? How did that start for you?
I was probably like 2 or 3 years old, maybe even younger, playing with a little Mickey ukulele.
You remember this?
I don't know.
You don't remember this. This is what you were told.
I've seen videos.
You've seen videos. Yeah, then fair enough. Then you know what happened, right?
You know, making up songs and stuff like that.
So when was the first time that you had that moment where it clicked and you're like, hey, I really do like this? How old were you when your first memory?
Well, I started off playing the drums at first, and I really liked that, you know. But my biggest memory at first was I went to a Bon Jovi concert, and I was like, yeah, I got to do this for my job. That's what I want to do.
How old were you at that time?
I was probably 6, right? I think I was
6 years old, yeah. So in case y'all don't know off camera, we got Mom here, 13 years old. He didn't drive up from Tupelo, obviously. So, yeah, feel free to ask your mom anything that comes up if you're not sure about something. So you started out playing the drums. How did that transition over to the guitar then?
Well, I guess I just got kind of a starter guitar, and I was just interested in it, and soon as I got it, I guess you could say I got the fever. Like, that's all I wanted to play.
Isn't that something? So I've got friends. In fact, our producer here, as you know, we just talked about, he plays the bass. And there is something unique about the ability to hear music and feel like that is something that's going to transform into who you want to become. Mm-hmm. So you say that whenever you started doing it, you knew this is what you wanted to do for life. Was it Bon Jovi's stage presence, or was it his ability to play music? What was it that captivated you?
Well, I just thought all of it was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at that time I was playing drums, so I was watching the drummer, and I was like, that's really cool. I got to do that.
Yes.
Pretty much.
So you start playing the drums, start playing the guitar. Your mom, what was that like for mom and dad and everybody? Were they like, hey, he's got some talent here? You know, he's got some skill sets.
Yeah, they've been super supportive the whole way, and, you know, they saw, I guess, that I had talent, and they did everything they could to help me.
Yeah. So what was it like whenever you're growing up and your brothers and sisters? Now, I'm just relating this because I know me personally, if I have something that I am passionate about or love, that I just can't do it enough, right? So you're just now learning stuff, and I imagine you probably didn't start out just amazing. Were you getting some slack from the brothers and your sister about, hey, can you tell John Clayton to turn it down in there?
Yeah, that happened a lot. You know, they tell me to turn down my amps and stop playing the drums, and they would all have, like, headphones on to cancel out the noise and stuff like that.
Did you have certain times you could practice?
I think I did, yeah.
They'd be like, "Oh, look, let's give the family a break here." Because when you're learning something, nobody's just immediately good. Usually, there's always those, special folks. There are some out there, but most people takes a lot of work, right? Takes a lot of work, a lot of practice. So whenever you're learning these things, it's like, at some point, I hope John gets better. So there was a moment that clicks, and you start getting better. So what happens then?
Well, I guess I just...
Start performing?
Yeah, start performing. I had my first real show when I was, I think, 9 years old.
That's what I was going to ask you next, is how old were you when you did your first thing? Where was that at?
That was in our mall parking lot, the Barnes Crossing Mall.
Seriously?
It was a fundraiser for veterans, actually.
How did you find out about it, or how did you get invited to it?
I think there's a guy named Scott Burns that puts that on.
Mm-hmm.
He does this thing where he stays up in a tower, I think, for like 7 days or something.
What? It's like a magic trick or something? What are we doing?
Like, he just camps out in a tall tower in the mall parking lot for like 7 days.
And is this down in Tupelo?
Yeah, at the mall.
How about that? Well, I guess there's malls places. In today's world, I'm surprised there's a mall anywhere, because Amazon has taken over the world, it seems.
That's true.
But so this moment happens. This is 9. So you're just a few years ago. I mean, it feels like it's like way back when I was 9. Just a few years ago that this happens. What was the crowd like? How many people were there?
To be honest, I think maybe like 50, maybe 100. I don't really remember that much, but there was a lot of veterans in the crowd that were, I guess, really happy to see me there.
I asked that question because I think back to the first time that I got in front of a group of people and acted, did whatever it was I was doing. I was an actor, actually, so I was in school in a play. So when I say acting, I was acting like in a play. That first time I stepped out and you see the large group of folks, a little bit of nerves hit that you didn't know. So butterflies. So do you remember having any of that before you went up and performed?
Yeah, I did, but I guess I just pushed through it and, did it.
Who was with you?
Who was with me? Well, on stage it was just me, but...
So it was a solo act?
Yeah, it was just a solo act.
That's what I was wondering,
Acoustic.
Yeah. Acoustic. So you just... Acoustic, so not even electric. What'd you play? Do you remember?
Luke Combs songs.
Get out of here.
That kind of stuff,
So you played multiple songs?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. What's your favorite song to play?
Now, on electric guitar or...
Anything. What's your favorite? You had to pick one. Just pick one song. And it's like, this is my go-to. I'll give you an example. If we're going karaoke in, okay, I'm always going to do Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine. That's my go-to every time. Not playing a guitar, singing, and I'm not a good singer. I'm a performer, John Clayton. I'm a performer. So what is your go-to? You have to have that one thing, right? That one song in your arsenal. It's like, this is the one.
Well, I would say my favorite song to play in our set with my band is probably Texas Flood by Stevie Ray Vaughan. I love that song.
Man, that seems like that's a hard one to play. I'm trying to remember the chords of it. Not that I play a guitar, but just trying to remember the sound of that one.
It's just like kind of a basic blues song pretty much. But it's kind of been pretty influential to me. You know?
Yeah. How did you end up in that line? Was there other people playing music like that you started listening to in your house, or I mean, how did you get turned on to something like that?
Yeah, well, we've always listened to music in my house, and my instructor, Tony Hooper, he's a part of the Blues Trail, so he started to introduce me to more blues, and I said, oh, I like that. I think I'm going to play that.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, is what starts to influence a person. So Casey Johns, I mentioned that before the show started. She's a country singer, and I was asking about what got you into country. Well, it turned out her dad was a bull rider and her mom was a barrel racer. So it really wasn't a hard, figure. You didn't have to connect too many dots. So for you, growing up in Tupelo, I was wondering if that was the draw, that you were around a lot of blues music. But it sounds like there was one individual that influenced that a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. I started off kind of like in rock, like classic rock, honestly.
Okay.
I guess you wouldn't really think somebody that was 6 and 7 years old would like classic rock.
Well, especially not in today's, group of kids. Whenever I talk to my students, I teach at college. If I mention any musicians other than the big ones, right? Like if I say Aerosmith, people know who Aerosmith is. But if I mention any of the other bands that were like classic rock, they don't know songs. Like I could say Eagles or Doors. They probably wouldn't know very many of the songs, right? So for a young person, yeah, you're right. That is unique. I grew up actually liking the Beatles. So I get you, but that's because my dad, he was a big Beatles fan, right?
Yep.
So whenever you start playing your music, did you learn how to read music?
I don't read sheet music, but I read like chord charts, tablature, that kind of stuff.
So early on, was it all just by ear? You would hear something and then you would try to mimic it?
Yeah, it was mostly by ear. Now it's pretty much all by ear. But back then I was watching YouTube videos trying to figure out how to play.
Man, you know what, young people, that's a great example. I mean, growing up, you know what we had? We had nothing. We had a record, or we had like a tape cassette, and then sometimes if you were really lucky, you could get through the radio station and you could try to tell them, say, hey, look, play this song, and then you try to get over there to your boombox and hit record play at the same time so you could get that song because you didn't want to go out and buy the single. That's what we had to go through, John Clayton. Do you understand the struggle was real?
Yes, sir.
The struggle was real. So I was talking to my audience for a minute because they don't know. If you're old like me, you have YouTube. You have YouTube. I actually have some friends who their daughter recently taught herself how to play piano by watching YouTube videos. That's impressive. So I guess whenever you start learning how to play any kind of instrument, they probably have something out there on YouTube for everything and just show you the chords. You just practice it, repeat. That's like free lessons, man.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever have to pay for lessons?
We do now, and we did for a while when I was learning. But I watched a lot of YouTube videos when I was maybe 9 and 8.
I specifically asked that because, I mean, we really are living in a world that technology, I mean, if you need to know how to take your car apart and put it back together, you probably have a YouTube video on it. You know what I mean? This is going on YouTube. So if people want to know how to talk like John Clayton, they can come on here and watch that as well.
Yes, sir.
So, look, you've been playing music now for a little while. Okay. And you talked about it 9, whenever your first moment was. Do you remember the first time you took the stage, you played the guitar, and you got that feedback from the crowd of like a roar of, wow, that boy's good?
Probably maybe that first show, or maybe it was, I did School of Rock. It's a thing in Memphis, and there's many across the globe, I guess. It's like a week-long, I guess, guitar music training.
So it's like a music camp.
Basically.
Okay. Yeah, band camp. Yeah, baseball camp. So yeah, it makes sense to me.
And we played at, I think the first time we played at like the Hard Rock Cafe. That's right. Yeah, Hard Rock Cafe in Memphis.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I'm sure there was some crowd applause there.
Yeah. So did you feel it? I'm asking this very specifically because I'll be honest with you. It's like it's infectious. It's like the first time that you get that big roar and everybody's clapping and you get the goosebumps and you're like, oh, I want to do this every time. I got to tell you, when I'm on stage and I'm doing a motivational speech and I know I hit my material and the people in the audience are not hearing me, they're feeling me. Oh man, it's like it's better than any kind of medicine you could take. It's amazing.
I kind of feed off of crowd energy.
Absolutely.
If they're having fun, I'm having fun pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a great point. Now let's transition to the other side of this because I've been on this side of it too, John. I I've been in those crowds that are, and they're quiet. There's no energy, and you're bringing it. You're still doing you, and then all of a sudden there's like not that feedback. Have you been in that moment where now you got to deep breath and push forward, feeling like, oh man, I don't know what's going on?
Yeah, well, it's always fun for me, you know.
Okay.
I would say it makes me play better if the crowd's having fun. But regardless, I'm still having fun.
That's right. I asked that because as a young person, all right, so do you ever watch America's Got Talent?
I think I have before.
Yeah. All right, so you'll see sometimes somebody come out there on stage, they'll start to perform whatever that is, and it's like crickets. That sometimes is a performer's kryptonite. Are you familiar with kryptonite? I don't want to assume that your generation knows what kryptonite is. So that's what Superman could not be around.
Okay.
All right, comic stuff. Yeah. So Superman could not be around kryptonite. He was powerful through all things except for that. Well, the kryptonite sometimes for a performer is that fear of the crowd not accepting them. So all of a sudden they've performed, they've given their best, and then it's like quiet. And that can be a challenge. So as a young person, man, I don't know, because I didn't start performing when I was young. So you've not really faced a lot of that, I guess, huh? That's good if you haven't.
Yes, sir, yeah. I haven't faced like a ton of that, I could say.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be honest with you. It comes and goes, and it doesn't matter how good you are at something. So at some point when it happens, just remember this conversation and remember what you told me, and what was it? As long as you're having fun?
Yeah, I'm having fun.
We're having fun. We're having fun. You just keep pushing on, pushing on. All right, so you're playing guitar, and you're 9, and now you've performed a few times. How old were you when the decision comes, man, I think I'd like to start a band?
Well, I played with the Mississippi School of Music in Tremont, Mississippi.
What year was that? Do you remember? Or how old were you? You were 10?
I was 10, yeah.
Okay. So that was just 3 years ago. All right. And so what happens then? You play with them?
I play with them for maybe a year, maybe 2. I think a year, I'm pretty sure. And then I decided to go out and start my own band. You know, we called it the 662 Band at the time, and now it's kind of merged into John Clayton White. And yeah. And
the 662.
Yeah,
it's on your shirt. Band. I'm reading that. So it's John Clayton White and the 662 Band. Mm-hmm. Right. So whenever you come up with this idea that you're going to start a band, you take it to Mom. What is that? What does she say? She's like, John, have you done your chores?
Yeah. Yeah, she was really supportive for it. She was actually all for it, you know. And she helped me out, you know, giving me a little bit of loan to buy the equipment.
Okay. So loans. Hang on, I got to take a pause, get a drink of water on that one. Hang on, y'all. That man just said get a loan at the age of 10. Y'all understand, I got a 27-year-old at the house still just trying to be like, hey, Dad, you got some money. What? So she comes to you, got a loan. What do you say to her? Like, how you going to pay her back?
Well, in the future, I hope to have the money to pay her back, you know.
My man.
I was confident that hopefully I will be.
Okay.
And she said, I'll buy all this equipment for you. I'll buy the speakers. I'll buy the mics. I'll buy the mic stands. I'll buy the monitors. I'll buy all that. Just I'll expect you to pay me back eventually, you know.
I think that's amazing. You know, there's a life lesson there, right? So there's 2 things to this, if you don't mind me saying. Did you know I'm a coach?
I did.
Yeah, I'm going to throw this in there for you, sir. So a lot of coaching sometimes is giving that person an opportunity and maybe putting them in a position to be successful. But the expectation is they got to do the work. So like as a player, if I'm coaching a team, the player may want to be a pitcher. They may want to play first base. I don't know. Well, they may not already have all the skill set. But for me, my goal is to give you all the tools you need to be successful. But then you got to go do the work. The player has to do the work. And in this case, what I see is your mom's like, you know what? I like the fact you're ambitious. You want to chase a dream. So I'm going to help you get this stuff set up. Well, you got to go do the work. And then you got to come back and pay it.
Yes, sir.
So you got to come back around. That's really a good life lesson, to be honest with you. So you're being given an opportunity. So whenever this happens and she gives you all of your equipment, what's that like for the next day, week, month? Do you find yourself now just like, oh, this can happen, and now you're working? Mm-hmm. You're doing work. You're putting in work. You're playing music. And do you write songs?
Yes, sir, I do. We actually have a EP out with...
Shut up. You got a what?
A 6-song EP out on Apple Music and Spotify and all those other streaming platforms. It's called Hitting the Road because it's my first one. You know.
Is this it right here? I'm going to show
you.
Hitting the Road right here. Look at that. It's going to get pretty close over there. So you wrote these 6 songs? You wrote them?
I wrote 3 of them.
You wrote 3 of them. And did you do the music or the lyrics or both?
I did some of both.
Okay. Wow. And where do you get your inspiration?
I would say I get a lot of it from maybe Stevie Ray Vaughan.
I mean, like, so I'm relating, right? So I'm looking at it, and you got Born a Star, Pride and Joy, Jack. And
those are my drummer songs that
okay.
we put together as the band.
Okay.
But the ones, It Ain't Right and Flat Tires, the first 2.
So when I say inspiration, I mean, this is probably not right, but flat tire, you're like driving down the road, mom gets flat tire, you're like, hey, I think that make a great song. That's what I'm talking about. Where'd you get the inspiration for the song lyrics and stuff?
Well, like if you listen to the song, it'll be like, my tires are going flat, babe. You know, like the relationship's starting to go downhill, basically.
Okay. So it's an analogy. So you're almost using it metaphorically speaking, you're bringing in these different things, which a lot of singers do that. I'll give you an example so you need to know this about me. I've written 2 rap songs.
Oh, really?
I drop beats, yeah. Yeah. And my stuff's about EMS. So it's related to the field that I worked in for so long, and now I teach. So that's why I was curious of if you had, things like you could be sitting around the house and you see your 2 brothers arguing about something. You start writing down lyrics and be like, you know what, bro? You just made my next song. So you could be threatening folks with that. So how do you put music? This is something that's fascinating. So just full disclosure, I have really seriously written up 2 rap songs that I performed, but I didn't do the music. So I'll look that up on the freebies, on the YouTube stuff. How do you come up with the idea of what the sound should be with the lyrics that you're writing? Where does that come from? Because I think that's an artistic talent not everybody can understand. You can learn how to play an instrument, you can learn how to songwrite, but to be able to put it into where the music plays and the songs make sense, how do you come up with that at such a young age? Because that's impressive.
Well, for me, most of the time I write the music first. I'll find
it's great.
lick or the chords or whatever I want to play, and then I start to get a vision for it. And then sometimes I like hum a melody, and then I'll have to later put lyrics on that based on what I'm feeling. You know what I mean?
Fascinating. I do actually know exactly what you mean. And so that's what I was curious of, because I could see the world through my lens. But I'm 51, John. My days are long now. And most of my songs will be written about the aches and pains I have when I wake up in the morning, right? So it would not be very interesting to most people. But for a young guy, you have a different and a fresh perspective. And I would think that your lens would be interesting to hear how you come up with those lyrics and where it comes from and how you put that music together. And so whenever you start to write something, and you're putting down some words on paper, and then you're starting to think about how the music sounds, are you doing that just from the perspective of a guitar? Or are you also trying to hear the other parts of music, like the drums or whatever else is in your band?
Yeah, that's right. I'll kind of think about the drums sometimes, and think how the guitar fits into the vocals, like the licks in between the vocals, like what I think I'm gonna play.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
That.
So whenever when you start writing your songs, you're playing your music, at some point you say to yourself, I think we got enough to do an EP. What's that like when you take that to mom? What does she say to you?
I guess she's really supportive.
Let's go do this.
Yeah, she said, well, we'll go record it at a studio.
I was going to ask you where you got it recorded. That was my next question.
We went to the lodge in Ryenzie, Mississippi. It's pretty much the middle of nowhere, but it's a really, really, really nice studio. Yeah. In pretty much the middle of nowhere. You would not expect that.
Interesting. I don't know the inception of Elvis Presley, but he basically walked into Sun Studios up there in Memphis and was just like, hey, I want to record this thing. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever gone up to Sun Studios and following in those footsteps?
I've actually never been there, but I've been to some in Muscle Shoals up there.
Yeah. Sun Studios actually is right across the street from the college I teach at. Would you believe it?
Where do you teach?
I teach Southwest Community College, your best choice. EMS program.
Cool,
Paramedic.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. That's where I do my rap songs. I rap to my students, get them fired up, or maybe they just laugh at me. Either way, it's still fun. Remember what you said, John. If I'm having fun, we're having fun.
That's
So
true.
that's me, man. I'm always trying to just have some fun. So at this point now, where are your brothers at with where's your sister falling in line, by the way? Who's the oldest?
The oldest is my brother.
So you have a brother that's the oldest, then you got
Yeah.
your other siblings there. Like, what are they thinking about John Clayton growing on the stage and becoming great? I mean, are they like all in now on some John Clayton? Are they like, hey, look, that annoying little brother that kept playing music all night when I was trying to sleep, now he's doing some stuff. Now are they on board with the John Clayton and the 662 band?
Yeah, they definitely are.
That's
all
awesome.
really supportive of me and just super proud of me.
Yeah.
You know.
What do they do? What kind of jobs are they doing? I'm just curious.
2 of them are in college. One owns a business. One works has kind of a high-ranking job in a really, really nice outfitter store in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Oh, wow. Been up there. Very expensive place.
Yeah.
Jackson Hole is. Hey, you could take some blues out that way. Just saying,
They have a couple festivals up there. I think maybe we can make that happen.
I got a big following in Casper, Wyoming, and they will be seeing this episode. So,
Cool.
Hey, look, you guys, John Clayton, you come up. He's got a brother up there in Jackson Hole. Go up there and see him. Go stay up there and do some shows, man.
Yeah,
So,
I'd love that.
So when the band comes together, do y'all start touring? What does that look like now that your band's together?
Well, we play a lot in Mississippi. Sometimes
What kind of places?
Tennessee.
What venues are you playing at?
Kind of bars and festivals, and sometimes like a bigger venue like the Corinth Coliseum. It was probably the biggest venue I've ever played.
What's the biggest audience you've been in front of?
I'm not actually sure.
250?
Probably about 250.
Yeah. So I'm asking those questions. I mean, those are legitimate. Stage fright's a real thing. And then performance anxiety is a real thing. And it sounds like that you found ways to get through that. What kind of things do you use to push through? Because I don't think any person is immune to it. We see superstars on TV, right? We see commentators. You watch these folks. They may be live in front of millions of people. I can assure you, down here in their stomach, they get nervous. That's why I'm talking to you about it. So do you have any kind of comments about how you deal with that? Because everybody probably has a little bit. How do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it too horrible, but I just kind of calm down and I guess get through it if I do. But most of the time, I don't get it really.
You just dive into the plan. I could see how you could get lost in the music a little bit. Yeah. I mean, whenever I perform my Guns N' Roses, I'm not too worried about, what people are saying. So, but then they're saying stuff, trust me, because it ain't good singing. So that's my next thing here I got written down. You started into music playing, but then you transitioned to singing. That's another whole thing. Playing music's one thing. Like my boy Derek, he plays the bass, but he doesn't sing. He'll tell you, do not put a microphone in front of him. So how did you find out, look, I think I'd like to sing as well?
Well, I guess my parents kind of, rushed me into it, and I guess they found that I could sing.
Did you sing in the bathroom? My daughter does that.
I probably did.
Yeah, okay. She'll be up in the shower, and it's like there's a concert going on. So that's where you started singing at the house, and they're like, hey, look, you should really try this. You should do this. So you get up there. Is that hard to do, play the guitar and sing?
Not anymore, but at first it kind of was. But I was, I guess, a little bit scared to start singing, I was just maybe uncomfortable at the time, but, I got over it and started.
Talking to some of the people that I've had the opportunity to meet, some musicians, Casey Johns, not just knowing your style of music, but then also knowing your sound. And that's another big thing. So the uniqueness of a person's voice sometimes will stand out. Like Luke Combs, for instance. A lot of people sing country music, right? But Luke Combs has a very distinct voice. Johnny Cash. Are you a Johnny Cash fan?
Not really, but I like his stuff. I would say I like him.
Okay, fair enough. So he was very unique, though, is the point, right? So very different. You would hear that. Have you thought about that? Because a lot of times it's not just the style of music you play, but it's also the persona. So the way that you carry yourself or the way that you sound. You're only 13. So John Clayton, I'm saying this because, brother, you at the front end. You've got the whole world in front of you. So do you ever think about, what is John Clayton going to look like in about 2 years, 3 years? What style will I bring to the table? Are you gonna wear flashy clothes, or what's that idea in your head? You got to have something going on.
I just kind of want to be a kind of a blues rock guy. I'm not really big on like flashy clothes, I guess.
Because Elvis Presley was.
Yeah, he definitely
was very flashy. He had capes. I'm not saying you should wear a cape, John. Don't bring back capes. Don't let those guys. They should go away. They should go away. Capes should go away. Unless you're Batman. But other than that, no. So you think basically you're just going to stay the course of music and let it develop on its own?
Yeah, well, we're trying to build my, I guess, persona and my brand, by having T-shirts, having posters and CDs, business cards, all of that.
Is that intimidating? Is it cool?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think about me at 13 when I played baseball. It'd have been cool if I had a baseball card. I'm just saying. I mean, nobody was going to make a baseball card, Coach Camp. Because back then I was player camp. You get what I'm saying? So, okay. All right. You got your persona being built up. 13 years old. Got your band. What's it like at school?
Well, I guess I just try to get through the day. I don't really like
that
it
sounds
too
like
much.
every other kid out there. So what grade are you in right now?
I'm in 8th grade.
8th grade. What do your friends say?
They're pretty supportive.
Yeah. Do you enter the school talent competitions?
We don't have any at my private school.
Okay.
A little tiny school.
It's a little small school. Yeah. Do they ever get to come out and watch you perform?
Yeah, they do sometimes.
Do they really?
Yeah, I played at a little venue called Blue Canoe in my hometown.
That's pretty cool.
They all came. I think like four of them, maybe 3, something like that came.
Yeah. So are there songs that you can't really play? Like if you listen to it, are there like things that you like, I gotta stay away from that?
I mean, there definitely is like some really hard songs. There's like a million out there that are just like crazy hard.
Yeah.
Like I was just thinking about this song. It's called Cliffs of Dover. Most people don't know it, but it's by Eric Johnson. He's a crazy blues guy. Like he's really good.
Yeah. There's a I should have written this down. I told you before we started, I do a lot of homework. I did a lot of homework on you. You got a lot of YouTube videos out there. So been putting in the work, brother. You've been putting in the work, right?
Yes, sir.
And when I was looking up young blues guitarist, oh my God, I forgot his name. There is a heavyset African-American boy. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Kingfish Ingram from Clarksdale.
Yes, Clarksdale. Yes. God, I should have written it down. I trusted my 51-year-old brain to remember that. And as soon as we get in here talking, I drew a blank. Have you met that guy? That's where I was going with all that.
I haven't yet, but I don't know if you know this, but he's my favorite guitarist.
Really?
Kingfish Ingram.
He's a lot of people's favorite guitarist I found as I was researching for you. I came across a lot of his stuff. Man, that dude jams. That dude jams.
But I'll be on a blues cruise with him in October.
Oh.
And hopefully I'll get to get up with him and play a few songs.
What's the blues cruise?
It's the legendary rhythm and blues cruise.
So is that on
right.
Now when you say cruise, I understand I'm old. I'm thinking cruise ship. Are you on a cruise ship?
Cruise ship.
Okay. I didn't want to assume that might be it because y'all speak lingo. Like I heard my daughter say Riz the other day. I don't know what that means really. So, all right. So cruise ship. Where's the cruise ship going?
It's going to Curacao and Aruba.
So are you invited as a guest to play, or are you just going on vacation and you're just going to try to get up there and play?
Well, I would probably say we're just going on vacation. I'm going to try to get up there and play. But
I like it. We
have kind of a connection with Kingfish's, I guess, like the guy who made him famous. Got him up there and helped him along his way. His mentor.
Yeah, the mentor. Okay.
And he's already texted him and said, "Get this kid up and play some songs."
Ah, nice. So he knows who you are. So it's not like a cold meet. He has an idea about your coming. That's good stuff. Funny little side note. So I use other guests and their relatable stories to current guests that I have on my show. Casey Johns, when she started and she was out there trying to build a name, guess where she started at and sang for a long time?
Where?
Cruise ships.
Cool.
Can you believe that?
That's nice.
Who would have thunk it? Maybe I need to get on cruise ships and do motivational speaking. Maybe that's where it's at for me, and then I'll get built up.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
I mean, I would have fun. Like you say, we're going to go back. This is our theme now. So when you play music, you got a theme sometimes. This is our theme. If I'm having fun, we're having fun. That's how it works, right? So Kingfish, how old was he when he started? Do you know?
He was probably maybe 10, maybe.
So he was young,
like around my age before my age, like when I started.
I remember looking through his stuff and I saw some of his things and I was like, man, this guy's good. And the first thought was, I wonder if you two knew each other, but it sounds like it's destined to happen.
Yeah, I think
at
he's
this
like
point.
he's like 22 or 23.
Yeah, he's a
something
little
like
older
that.
now. Yeah,
He's
the
pretty
videos
old.
I was looking at, he was a youngster, right? So he's still out there jamming. Does he play in a band, or does he just mostly do his own thing? I'm
Yeah,
asking you about
he has
him
his
because
own
y'all
band.
are about to be a team.
Well, he has his own band. It's
Okay.
just a couple guys behind him.
Yeah.
You know, he's
I'm
on the road.
He's going to
touring.
see this. I have a feeling.
I hope so.
And then he's going to be like John Clayton, 6'6", come on out here with he's in 6'6", he's in Mississippi. You know what Mississippi used to be?
What?
601. The whole
Okay.
state was 601.
Yeah.
So maybe he's 601 because he's old school. And you could be the 6'2" band. I don't know that that's true. I'm throwing that in there. That's just fun for me. So has your life changed any since you've started down this road?
I guess I've just been really, really committed to it, you know, putting it over other stuff. Like, recently I decided to focus on guitar and music more than sports, I guess, because
You played sports?
I did. I played baseball and football,
Okay.
but I kind of decided, like, I'm not going to be a professional football player or a professional baseball player. So
Why
I
do you think that is?
Well,
I'm going to tell you why.
because the
Passion.
percentage is really low.
Forget the percentage. Passion.
Yeah, I didn't have a passion for it.
I
at
see
all.
where your passion is. It's pretty obvious. So that's the story here, too, that I want my listeners to hear is you're 13 years old. All right. And that's where we are. I wanted to build some of this backstory of who John Clayton White was, where he came from, what he's been doing, how he's got to where he is. Here's the thing. When did you cross the roads of this could be a dream and I have a passion for it? When did you realize, what age was it like, this is it? I know you said at 10 you started playing. And then how old were you? So it was 10 whenever you got your band together. 9, you started playing on stage. 10, you got your band together. But was there a moment where you're like, I have a passion for this?
Yeah, well, I was like really, really young. So probably 4 years old, maybe. I was like, I want to be a rock star. She remembers it. She definitely does.
Wow.
I was like, I want to be a rock star. And I was probably 4 years old or younger
I love
than that,
that.
actually.
I love that. Yeah, we had a professional bareback rider on the show. He rode in the pro circuit of the rodeo for 18 years. He won 2 world championships. And when I asked him, when was that moment? When was that click moment where you're like, I'm doing this for the rest of my life? He was 5, driving down the road in his car, and he was listening to a guy on the radio, and he said, I just remember it like it was yesterday at the age of 5. I want to be in the rodeo. He started out bull riding and went over to bareback riding. All of these things are interchangeable. I want to say this to my audience. If you're sitting out there right now and you have kicked the tires on a dream and a passion in your life, take action. John, the one thing about kids that adults tend to grow toward is when you're a kid, you have no inhibitions. You're not worried about failure. You're focused on passion and hard work towards what that love is. And whenever you're working hard towards something you love, it ain't like work. So let's share that with my people. How often do you find yourself practicing and thinking about the guitar?
Well, I practice probably an hour or 2 hours every day. I try to, you know. You got to keep my muscle memory up and my fingers sharp, you know. And I try to learn some new things about every day.
Do you go to sleep thinking about stuff?
Definitely I do. You know, I can't get that kind of stuff out of my head.
Yeah.
Like after a show, I'll hear like drums playing. I don't even know. Like I'll hear my drummer drumming.
Isn't that something? But that's the thing. So it's not like work. So if your mom said, John Clayton, you go up there to your room right now and you get your guitar and you play for an hour. Are you walking and dragging your head like, oh, I need to play guitar?
Yeah, she's never done that. Not
Yeah,
even
but
once.
would you feel sad if you did? Had to go play the guitar for an hour?
I would not.
That's my point. That's my point. It's not punishment, right? When you're doing something you love, you want to do it all the time. Fun fact. I say this and my wife is like, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll look around. I thought I was on a stage performing and giving a speech. And I'll be like, oh my God, that's a great message. And I'm finding a pen and paper and I'm writing down the lines that I was saying in my dream because it's like, man, that is some solid stuff right there. Thoughts come to me. I can't turn it off. I'm constantly thinking about how I can use a moment in my life or someone else's life to inspire that next person. That's why I love this platform, because I see a lot of other individuals' passions and loves coming true for them because they started to pursue it. When we get older, and this is where I was going with the earlier comment, is when we get older, we start thinking about the failure more than the possibilities of success. When you're young, you cannot even think about the failure. All you can see is the success. Think about what we could accomplish as adults if we went into something with our mindset and the desire to be successful, and we weren't going to let anything get in our way. And every day we woke up, all we could do was think about that passion, and we chased it. When everybody said it's not possible, or the percentages are low, or there's no chance you're ever going to be able to do that, and we used that as fuel on our fire instead of water. My gosh, John, Clayton, do you know the things people could accomplish in this world?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
You could write a song about it.
Yeah, I could.
And it wouldn't be blues music. It would be hype music at that point. It's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a little bit of Coach Camp getting fired up, because I love seeing somebody chase what it is that they want to do in life, much less a young person.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I also say, I have no plan B,
Good.
I got one way, one path,
And that's what it takes. That's what it takes, because otherwise you start to see another way.
True.
And you lose your focus. People say that the obstacles are those scary things you see when you take your eyes off your goals. That's another great quote. I put that up in my classroom not long ago. So think about that. When you stay focused on your goals, you're going to have pitfalls. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have moments. Look, I don't know what a guitar player goes through. I don't know if you got writer's block. I don't know if you got finger cramps. I don't know. But in the end, whenever you have that passion to keep driving toward it, you figure out a way and you keep going. And the next thing comes. And whenever you feel like you've been in a lull, all of a sudden it's like that inspiration will come back around and you'll have another opportunity. So John Clayton, I'm glad I'm getting to meet you now, because you know what's going to happen. It's going to just be a few years and you'll be out there doing stuff. You wouldn't have time to come back to the studio. So then at that point, we'll just have to do a remote and catch everybody up as to where you're at.
Thank you. I hope so.
So that's a big part of this. In 5 years, where do you see John Clayton White? Because I do have that in here, and I've got to know, where do you see yourself going?
I hope to be on the road touring somewhere, maybe the world, maybe just America, maybe just Mississippi. I don't know, but hopefully America or the world. Playing
blues music.
Yeah, blues rock, that kind of stuff.
One thing about the blues, I don't know if you know this. I'm sure you do. Of course you do. There's a discussion. There is an argument to be had about where blues music started. Where, say you, blues music started?
Yeah, I think it started down at the Crossroads. That's in the Mississippi Delta. It's kind of the Clarksdale area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I like to think, too. Clarksdale is where the blues originated. You hear some people say, oh, it was in St. Louis. Oh, it was Chicago. No, that's like trying to say barbecue somewhere other than Memphis is good. That doesn't even exist. That's not even a real thing. Barbecue's the only place you can get barbecue for real is Memphis, Tennessee. Everywhere else, they don't know what they're talking about. So.
Yeah, well, kind of the founding guys are Robert Johnson, Charlie Patton, actually. I think that's his name. Yeah, Charlie Patton. But there's this really cool story about Robert Johnson, how he went down to the Crossroads and he actually made a deal with the devil, they say.
That is the folklore, yes.
Yeah, and that made him so great at guitar. And another thing I know about him is that they used to say that he would go to the cemetery at night and sit on a gravestone, and he would take lessons from one of his teachers at the cemetery at night. It's kind of interesting, I guess.
It's eerie, yes, but in the end, it's part of what makes folklore cool, right? So the idea of something and it's bigger than them, and yeah, I get that. Clarksdale's where I've always said home of blues actually started, and I've had that conversation a few different times in different places. So here's where we are. All right, we're at a good spot where I want to get one more big thought from you, and then we're going to cut. When we come back, it's going to be like magic, because that's what we can do in the studio. It's going to be like magic. You're going to play a quick song. I wanted to jump in, but I don't think I want to mess up your stuff. See, for years, I fashioned myself to be a blues harmonic. I don't think I'm going to go with you on that. I'm going to let you rock that thing. But I do want to get your final thoughts on something. So as a young man that is pursuing his dreams, you're trying to juggle life. When you get older, you got kids, maybe you got a mortgage, I don't know. But for you, you got school. And it does sound like you're the youngest, so sometimes you got siblings you got to deal with. And then I don't know about animals. Maybe you have a dog you got to take care of. And then you got to write songs, and you got to go to a band, and you got to go play this night over at this place and then that place. You got to manage yourself. what would you share with my listeners right now that you could give to them about inspiration or just chasing something that you absolutely love and understanding that the sacrifice will be worth it?
Yeah, I would say just don't stop going. Just keep at it, you know. You'll reap what you sow eventually, you know. Just keep at it.
You got to have belief.
You got to.
And I'm going to say this. I don't think your mom minds me saying it. You got to have a support system.
True.
It's good to
Very
have some
true.
people in your corner. Get you some good folks in your corner. Have them push you. And in the end, the possibilities are limitless, my friend. So, do you have a song picked out for us?
Yeah, I'll probably just play some licks and some kind of solo work and just some down and dirty 12-bar blues.
Now, that's what I like to hear. When I hear a 13-year-old say down and dirty, I'm like, let's go, boy, let's go. Let's get this thing fired up. All right, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut this thing. You're going to come right back. You're going to have your guitar ready to rock and roll. You're going to give us a little bit of something, and then I'll wrap up the show. How's that sound?
That'll work. That'll be
All
great.
right, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. All right, guys, here we are. So we took a second away from the film so that we could get everything set up. And during that time, of course, I'm talking to John. Fascinating young man. As you guys know, John Clayton White. He's up here from Tupelo, Mississippi. Blues player, phenom. And you shared something with me that I'm like, hey, look, I want my listeners to know that. So real quick, who is the biggest person that you've ever played with?
Yeah, it's probably Derek Trucks and Susan Sadesky and B.B. King's band. That was at B.B. King's Historic Club Ebony in Indianola, Mississippi.
So that was when you played with that group. And you said something about the mentor then of Kingfisher. He's the one that brought you up there to do that, right?
Yeah, his name's Robert Terrell.
Robert Terrell. Man, that's fantastic. And one other thing that you shared with me, you have a second album you're working on, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've just been working on a couple songs for that album that'll hopefully be out next year. Sometime next year. All right. Well, there'll be like a drop release. You know, they do those things now. It's like, I'm going to drop my first single on such and such at midnight, and people are like all setting up. The reason I know this is my daughter will wait up for hours for some Luke Bryan song about that. I'm like, girl, you wake up tomorrow, the song is there. But no, she got to be the first. She got to be the first. So that's what you got to do. You got to create that enthusiasm. Be like, I'm getting John Clayton's first song when it comes out, as soon as it comes out. So how can people find you if they want to find you? Yeah, you can find me on pretty much all platforms. Like, all my original stuff is on Apple Music, Spotify, I don't know, Pandora, just pretty much everywhere, and on YouTube and TikTok, Instagram and Facebook. It's all John Clayton White music.
John Clayton White music. Man, you really are out there, brother. Well,
Yes,
look,
sir.
I know my audience wants to hear you jam. So, baby, this is your moment. Take it away, brother.
I'm gonna play an original song of mine called Flat Tires for y'all. Well, my tires are going flat, babe. Don't got no spare for you this time. Well, my tires are going flat, babe. Don't got no spare for you this time. Sick and tired of this old rocky road. It keeps on costing me every dime. Oh, my tires are going flat, babe. My rims are all out of line. Oh, my tires are going flat, babe. Oh, my rims are all out of line. Think it's time I slow it way down. Can't keep on passing every danger sign. You left on me nowhere in the middle of the night. Got no love and no spare, no one to hold me tight. Oh, my tires ain't going flat, babe. Got no one to take me home. Oh, once I get air in these old tires, I'm packing my things and I'll be gone. Oh, once I get air in these old tires, I'm packing my things and I'll be gone.
Woo! Let's go.
Thank y'all.
My man, John Clayton White, baby. Woo! Turning it out down here in Hernando, Mississippi. Hey, man, thank you so much for coming out here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Dude, you're a
been a
rock
blast.
star. Look, I tell you what, the sky's the limit for you. Keep pushing. Keep being you. Don't let things change you. Stay the course, baby, because I promise you, bright skies are ahead as you're playing your blues music, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Hey, look, to my listeners, thank you guys every single week tuning in, sending great comments, giving me suggestions, even sometimes sending me some guests. I love it. Look, continue to tune in. Go to my website, motivatewithcoachcamp.com. Subscribe to my YouTube. And until next time, Coach Camp out.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out.